Okay, we should be good.
Okay. All righty. We will call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. As is usually the case, we'll start with continuations and follow on to new matters. In the case of tonight, the oldest continuation, which is ARB 2101, 11 Langdon, has not submitted any new material, so they will not be heard. We will then go on to the other two continuations, which is 2105, and that's 34 Lewis Road. It's a new house. I believe Patty Steinschneider needs to be let in.
He's here.
Mute. That'll be better now that I'm unmuted. You might hear me say, "Good morning, everyone."
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, now you can see me. That's better, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right. You want me to share a screen and show you stuff?
Sure.
Okay. And let's see. This is the right one.
Sarah, if you can just watch out for Ken Lewis and let him in as soon as you see him.
Sure, not a problem.
Thanks.
Okay, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. On this one, we actually made a number of changes, but I don't think you need me to go through all the stuff that didn't change.
Nope. I guess just the changes.
Yeah, so there were a number of conversations that went in the last meeting that Ken made recommendations on. I think they were all good comments, and I think we've done what he was suggesting. This is what we had submitted for the last meeting, and this is what the changes that we made to it. I can toggle back and forth to kind of show that. What I'm showing right now is that we move the windows up along here to the band, and that'll be something that happens all around. We changed this section that was previously stucco to the board and batten. We kept the garage as stucco because we think that works better with the way the massing kind of breaks down on the site. But we returned to the board and batten on the back, which I can show you as we go around. Again, that was the front as we had it, and this is the front as we've changed it. We come to this side, and the changes will be similar. This whole area became board and batten here. We changed the windows here. There was concern about the way that this kind of stepped down. I think we changed it, though, in a way that was different than what Ken was suggesting, just because the reality is here we have to have a header because we've got this deck projecting out, so we can't raise this up to the under the floor level the way we did with these windows. And at the same time, the client definitely wants these windows to be high, almost touching the ceiling. So what we did is we replaced this door. Instead of a 6'8" door with transom above, we went to an 8-foot door, and we lined these windows up with that 8 foot. So if I toggle to that, I think it makes a clear break in the way that this all works. So I think it makes better sense. Again, this is all the board and batten. We also extended the stone. Before, this was a section that was actually stucco. And so we wrapped around this whole mass with the stone, carrying it back into where it hits into the corner. Do you need me to go back through any of that?
I don't think so. Anybody have any questions?
Nope. I'm just looking at our notes. I think that's all I had. So,
Oh,
only one question, Patty, is you said the stone is from the site?
well, the stone is either from the site or from other sites that we're excavating in Irvington. The idea is to use that local granite, which is really, really nice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we've done on the houses that we've used the stone on in Dearman Park. And I think Brad Opacek also used the local stone on the house that he's doing in that. So I think it's a great stone, and we might as well make use of it instead of trucking it away and buying something somewhere else.
Great. Thank you.
Patty, you didn't do anything to change in the heights of the buildings?
No, the massing all stayed exactly the same. One thing I didn't point out, another thing that Ken suggested, is we brought the stone across the base, coming up to the bottom of the windows to kind of tie that around all the way on the facade.
Mhm.
If I go back to what was there before, we had the
Right.
stucco underneath that, and that just seems to give us a nice datum line for the board and batten and the stone.
Go back one more time.
Mhm.
Okay. You move those windows on the far left up.
Right, everything on the garage, we brought all the way up. Actually, if I go back to this one too, you can see that in the lower elevation on the end of the garage.
Uh-huh.
What we did is we kind of brought all that up so that the windows, hit right at that datum line, which I think is a much better, I think that was a great idea of Ken's.
Okay. Anything else that was changed, Patty?
Yep, I think we're good with that. Any other questions that you guys have?
No, I guess just confirmation that nothing else in terms of you were keeping the retaining walls, there's no fence, everything else is status quo except what you just
Exactly. And every time I look at it, I realize there's one other thing we changed. Ken had said he really couldn't understand why we would put a post in this span in front of the doors. So what we did is we eliminated that. We figured, we had our engineer figure he can do this span with the deck because that's a steel beam without that post. So I think that also was a great suggestion that helps the look.
That's great.
I agree.
It's a pity he's not here to see it.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
He's gonna be here, but he's gonna be late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I that's everything that I recall that we asked for. So, Deb, unless you have other notes that you can rely on.
Nope. It's everything else. That was the extent of what
Yeah.
was raised.
Okay.
Patty, on all the way on the left, those 3 windows.
In the garage,
Yeah, in the garage. How large are they? I'm sorry.
they're like a 2'4" by 2'4".
Oh, it's not a square. Okay.
It basically it is a square. Yeah.
Okay. So did you ever think about maybe moving them a little closer together?
Well, right now
I'm just
we've got-
looking at how many groups of windows we have. So, and I've seen it done. It's a nice look.
yeah, what we've done on that is we've got them centered on the garage doors.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of relates when you pull your car in, it's
Okay.
like that's your window. And I also thought it was better being not boring, but not trying to call too much attention to the garage, letting the garage kind of,
I
we've got a
know.
lot happening on this house. So,
Definitely.
letting that be a passive part of it. It's kind of in the background behind some landscaping, I thought would be better.
Yeah. Well, no, if it relates to the bays of the garage,
Yep.
that makes more sense to me. Okay. All right. Thanks, Patty.
Okay. Anybody else?
Now, I just was curious, with this submission, was there also a list of materials that you submitted for this meeting that wasn't? Or is it-
Yeah, here, let me get to that. This is what we submitted for the last meeting. Everything is relatively the same with the exception of the, you guys suggested a darker, kind of more, not more colorful, but a more distinctive stucco than the Mindful Gray. It doesn't really show. If I showed you these 2 samples next to each other, you'd say the Intellectual Gray is much stronger than the Mindful Gray. My camera does a great job of kind of ignoring that.
Yeah.
So these are the colors that we've got on, and we submitted. We have everything labeled on the drawing. This list of colors is there. So I think it's it's a quiet gray palette. And we're just letting the wood kind of pop out a little bit, which I think would be nice in that kind of wooded site.
Okay, yeah, so that was the only change in finishes, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, other than that, we obviously added the
Stone.
the board and batten in. Yeah, so we added a color for the board and batten, which is the Iron Mountain, which is a dark gray, which I think will be kind of offset nicely to the stucco. The stucco and the board and batten they'll look distinct.
Okay. Anybody, any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're good to go on that one.
Thank you.
Okay, now how do I get this one up? Can you still see stuff?
Yeah. I see the last frame that you had up.
Yeah, so you see the previous slides.
I also see your
Unshare and then
background.
reshare.
Say again?
I see your background too, the PowerPoint
Unshare.
background.
Okay, so let me see if I go to slideshow, if this one pops up.
Patty, you
Yeah.
should try unsharing your screen and resharing it with
Yeah.
the new submission.
Okay, so how do I unshare?
At the top, you should have an option to stop sharing.
Yeah, I don't have your thing up anymore. I wonder if I need to sign back in. There now.
There, there you go.
Okay,
Ah,
so
Look who showed up.
Ken.
There he is.
So close.
do we want to run and buy it, or is it already done?
I think we're pretty much going to look at the same thing on the other house, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll give him a shot at that one.
Well, that's the one where I really need his opinion more, because we showed options on that, and I'm not sure which one works. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So on this one, we actually made a number of changes around, which didn't have to do with your suggestions, but it was based on concerns that the client had about the costs that they were getting. We changed before we had the garage as the brick, and what we've done now is we've brought the clapboard around on the garage, and we've used the board and batten as the separation between the garage and the house. I think we talked about that a little bit, but we didn't really go into it in detail. The other thing the client wanted to do is the windows that are in the brick. Before we had all of the windows being 2x2 divided light, too high, too wide. And what they would like is for the windows in the brick to have more divided lights. They actually all still work out to be vertical, not horizontal, although it looks weird in this. The windows that are still on the back of the house in the clapboard and the board and batten, those remain the 2x2. So it kind of gives you this reinforcement of the different character between the two. The other thing we did, let's see if I can find a detail here. This is what we had before. Actually, I got a better detail, I think, on one of the others. Yeah, I'll need to get around to the back. This is the side. This is what we showed last time. This is pretty much the same, with the exception of the divisions and the lights in the windows. When I get to the back, this was the design that we had before, where we had closed soffits. And what we're looking at now is running ladder rafters along on the sides, projecting out so that the edges of the roof will be thin. And I think it'll just kind of be a more interesting look. We do that everywhere around on the house. Since I'm on the back, I guess we can talk now what Ken was suggesting, which was that we look at what the roof in this section, with these two pieces that we've got as hip, whether that's better as something else. So we realized there were kind of two different alternatives. One would be to go with both of them being the gables, which we're fine with that. The other was, since this gable projects forward from this, and this is kind of more the vertical element, this is a more, we have the gable, but it's more in the plane of the house. We also looked at the idea of keeping the hip on the right-hand side and then doing the gable on the left. I'm not sure I really like that. I kind of feel like it would either be better with the two gables or the two hips. But I wanted to show, both of those to see if there was a preference. if I just go around, most of the changes are, what I mentioned, with the changes with the way the roof eaves work, being the thin piece instead of being a closed soffit. I think that lightens the appearance of the house. Again, no changes in the massing in this in any way. It's all everything else stayed the same. Is Ken on, or is he? Because I don't see his picture.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah. So take your pick, Ken.
Can you go back to the front? Beep, beep, beep. Can you go back to the original design just for a second? So it was clapboard originally on the garage?
At one point, I don't know when it changed. I think what happened is we presented this at the January meeting, but the drawings that you had gotten before showed it with the brick.
Okay. Let me say a couple things. I kind of like the 2/2 windows. I'm not sure about the other ones, but I guess if that's the owner's. Is it a thin line mutton?
Yes.
So it's like the super, whose window is it?
The Pella windows, and we're looking at both the lifestyle, but also the architectural series. There's a slight difference in the muttons on it, but the lifestyle does make the thin mutton, and it's, this is obviously I'd love to say they're true divided lights, but they're not. But this is the one where you've got the piece attached on the outside, the piece in the middle between the glass, and then the piece attached on the inside. So it's
as true as you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Ken. That was my first thought when I saw so many lights on each window. It seemed so busy. What color are those muttons?
These are in iron ore. I've got the samples of that if you want me to go there. But
well, that's a nice choice if you're going to do them.
Yeah.
Look, I think I prefer this, but again, if the owner thinks that, it's just strange. The one thing I will say about the garage, given that it's such a strong face, is there any other detail that you can do? And it's really minor kind of things, and I don't think we need to come back for it. Is either to put some, some sort of decorative clapboard up at the top, or the top, something that you see in the village all over the place.
Yeah.
And it might just reduce the scale of that wall. I still think that the hip on the back is strange, but you know what? I can't get it. If you can get, so those are my comments here.
Yeah, one thing that we played with and we kept going back and forth was actually putting a skirt here.
I think it should. You want to hear my thinking is you've got this line here, and then maybe that just gets carried over there.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's interesting.
Some sort of way of carrying it over and at least providing some interest in the peak or at the bottom of the window.
I like the idea. In a way, we've got these kind of cute little pieces, and then if this kind of did the inverse where these are popping out and this kind of closes off, I think that's a very interesting idea. And just picking up that height, because we've got the ability to adjust this window so we can bring that exact height across, and maybe just bring this out so it's got a thinner reveal, and it just do it in a slightly different material. Not even really a different material. It might be the same material, but just handled in a slightly different way, so it looked like it was intended to be different.
And then my other comment: how far is the ladder, Eve, reaching out? Is it the same length as it was before, or is it getting shorter? It's
a little bit shallower than what it was before. Before we had 2-foot overhangs. Yeah. Now we have a 1'4" overhang.
Okay, I liked it when it was a bigger overhang, and then I'd say the ladder would really be quite amazing to do. But again, fine. And you have it on the garage too.
Right, we have it everywhere that we have the eave.
And does the ladder portion have a turn down? Can you show me a detail of the ladder?
Yeah, let's see.
You know what? This is.
I think we've got it on this page.
Can you zoom in? Control plus.
Yep. I have to come to more of these meetings so I get taught more. So
here's my question.
Yeah.
Can you run the ladder further down? Do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe the ladders are deeper than the eave itself. You follow? It's just, you're gonna have what's on the underside?
This is all the, this is an AZAC board and center B board. Center B board. Yeah.
Center bead board. Okay.
Yeah. And we've got, the crown up underneath. So
Yeah.
I think the detail works out pretty good. I wasn't really sure I understood about running it down.
No, because I've seen it done where they do the it truly looks like a ladder. I know it's a metaphor for what it is, but sorry. And what they'll do is I have a feeling I've been on too many Zooms today and I'm running out of cache. Is they have a little piece down here and then it rolls up. Like, so you see the rafter line. It's not, it just looks like a set of lines that are running down the eave. It's just a detail. And do you know that detail?
Well, I've done it before where I don't have it closed in underneath.
Yeah,
I
think that's a whole different thing for insulation purposes. I'm not going to propose that. All right, that's just a detail. Can you go zoom out?
Control what?
Minus?
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't realize it until just now, and I hope everybody else realizes it. Why this thing is just acting so goofy. Yeah, I know why. It's out of memory. So if you didn't know this is in another plane.
Right.
Than this piece back here. But
Correct.
That said, I think they should have the same treatment and it should be the hip roof.
Okay.
So why don't you show that? And just so everybody sees it,
Isn't that the one that's up?
Not the hip, sorry, the gable end.
Okay.
It's a long day.
Yeah. Here, maybe I have to control. Yep. Again. Okay. So that one.
Yep. And again, I think the way you have some detail, it's really your call where you do it, but it's a little bit of a big vertical. Is there something that you could put up there? A vent.
Up in the top?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we could.
Something, it's just, again, this is the back of the house. It's up to you. It just sort of caps it off. And I don't want to.
I like the idea if we create that form on the garage, then doing it the same on these two gables, I think would work well. Then the question becomes,
do you do it on there?
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Okay.
brick though. That's the brick.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't do it there on the brick because I wouldn't want to do it here if I can get far enough around. I wouldn't want to do that on these.
Okay.
So what we do is we leave the brick without it, and then it happens wherever we have the clapboard.
Okay. Is there an attic in the house?
No.
No.
I mean, there obviously is, but it's, a pull down stair because Irvington
Yeah.
has a fixation against attics, and they don't want anything that anybody can use in any positive way. So, not my opinion, but
I just think the gable ends in rooms would be even nicer. Okay.
I mean, one thing we've talked about, again, we've got the issue of budget, but this is the master bedroom, and I think one of the things that could happen is that piece coming across, that could actually be a tray ceiling.
Yeah.
In the master, which I think would be quite cool.
Either a tray or a barn ceiling or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity. So my other question, which I didn't realize until looking at this, is the fencing on the terrace. Is it iron, wrought iron?
It's wrought iron. It's the preference. We originally had a wood railing. What we've got is we still have a wood cap and wood posts.
Do you have that detail? And is it
I actually don't know if we do.
okay. And is it a 5-foot stretch of each piece with a, because it looks it looks like it has a 5-footer.
It's about, it's worked out to kind of even out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all, what it is 1, 2, 3, 4 equal bays, working it off of the center on the doors, which I thought you'd notice the best. If I was standing down the hill and I wanted to feel that the railing was centered on the other windows, I'd step 2 feet to the right.
So there's a hierarchy to it.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you have the details, because it's quite strong, right? It's a big piece going over there. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we.
It's something that's going to be visible to everybody in the community.
Yeah.
So, and the house has a lot of detail. I just think that railing it's important.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of railing. Do you have any planter beds on the house side of the railings, or is it just all terrace leading out to the railing?
You mean down here below?
No, up above on the terrace.
We don't have anything.
Not up there. On the that one.
No, this is all freestanding. This is all a terraced area underneath the porch, or the deck. So you're able to sit there. We've got, the idea is there'll be fencing, there'll be planting along the fence, on the inside of the fence, which will help give privacy and soften it. And then we've got fairly extensive planting along the base of the retaining walls.
So there's a sort of nominal heavier piece of fencing vertical, right? That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. Can you zoom in on that? Just Control plus. Yeah, keep going. There it is. Yeah. And it's a wood rail on top.
Wood rail on top, wood posts, and then the infill is the metal.
And that's true for the fence on the terrace too, or is that all? Yep. Okay.
Well, on the fence on the terrace, that's all metal. That doesn't have the wood.
Okay. And there's growies in front of it.
Yep. Actually, on the upper part, there's plants behind it, which will be protruding through it, and you'll kind of lose that railing a lot with the planting.
Yep.
But it'll still give you a controlled edge.
It's important the planning be there, because otherwise it's like this. That'll draw your eye.
Relentless. Yep.
Yeah. And are you doing the 4? Is it proposed to do 4/4 here too?
On the windows?
Yeah.
You mean the 2x2s? 2 wide, 2 high each window.
So you'd stick with that on the back on this side.
Right. Their compromise with me was they didn't mind keeping it. I said, I tend to put more muttons in when I'm sitting in a neighborhood where, when I really think of what I'm looking at is the next door neighbor's house. So I like to have the muttons, so it kind of gives me a screening, so to speak. When I'm sitting here looking at the Hudson River, I don't really want more muttons breaking that up. Yep. So I wanted some, because I thought it would look too sterile if it didn't have something. So just a minimum of, the 2x2 I thought would look good.
Okay. I think it should be 2x2 on both sides, but so be it. Can you show us the palette?
Sure. I have to do this now. Okay. And okay, this is what we had before, and we were using a Da Vinci weathered gray shake. That is one of the first things that got sacrificed with the budget. That was $600 a square for getting material. So they've decided they would rather be the JAF slate line, which is a nice, heavy, but not fake-looking asphalt shingle. It's not the things that try to pretend like there's something they're not. It just has a shadow line, which I think reads well. And that adjusted our colors just slightly. Again, when we take these photographs, it just really does make changes to the colors. But we've got the brick is whitewashed with the Roma Bio Cristallo white, which is a very warm white. We've got the painted trim is the China white, which really works nicer than that in this photo. We kept the mindful gray with the stucco, the cobblestone with the hardy plank, although we will be painting that after it's up. Even though it comes pre-finished, we find that it's better to give it a paint. So we might adjust that a little bit if we feel it needs to be tweaked. The board and batten is the Benjamin Moore gray. The railings are Ebony King, which is a very dark. I mean, it's basically like a black, but it doesn't have the flatness of a black. It just kind of has a nice feel to it, and it seems to pick up some of the other colors that we've got in this.
Is the handrail the mahogany? Oh, that's
yeah. Mahogany. Everything that's the wood is the same mahogany.
The Atlas gray is the metal roof. Okay.
Right, and that's just on those short skirt roofs that are on the first floor, little sheds.
Yeah. You know, it would so help. I think this is fine. I think it would be helpful to have rendered elevations, because then you would see the dark light contrast that you're working toward.
I'd almost be willing to show you them, but they're awful. I mean, I shouldn't say they're awful.
Sorry.
You know, I gave them to my guy in the office, and he
but
came
this
up.
Doesn't look like it represents it, because of the piece between the garage and the house would be the dark gray, right?
And it would also have the roof that is missing, and there are other little details. So I was trying to avoid having to go into those.
I think we got to add, especially when it's like this. I mean, I don't know how everybody can see it. It's hard because you got to go look and back and look, and because it's smart. It's very, I don't want to say clever. It's just the way you do it is you make a distinct color for those certain elements, and they stand out.
Right.
I don't know what you call it, but the bay window, is that also gray?
The bay window is, we had figured that the bay window was in the trim color, which is the China white.
So it's white or anything that's brick other than, yeah.
Yeah, so we get around to that.
Right, so that's white too. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted that to feel like it was a front element, not the board and batten stuff.
Yep. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Anybody else?
No, I just agree with you, Ken, about the windows. You know, so many.
I mean, they might just be looking for some, you know, encouragement of a direction. I think the too high, too wide is better on this house. I think this starts to read a little bit like intentionally traditional.
Yep.
And I'm sensitive today because I've been in a huge email war. People are trying to differentiate between modernism and traditional architecture, deciding which is good and which is not. Wonderful argument. And I basically said, if you pictured the rail lines, one's traditional, one's modern, and there's a place with a two join, and that's where it's just called good. You know, it doesn't need the adjective, it's just good architecture. So this to me is a little bit too much like it's trying to make a traditional point. And I think it would be better if it's a 2x2, and I can certainly go back to them and try and suggest that. Unless I don't know if they're on. You know, they often attend the meetings.
Well, it's just an opinion. You know, I felt like the other
looked. It is. Deb, Michael?
Better to me, but.
Any thoughts, Deb, Michael? Rick?
No, yeah, it's I don't know.
It's a rarity when we let half the house be one type of window and the other half another.
I just think seems like it's trying to be something that it's not, you know, and I think that's exactly what you were alluding to, Patty.
You guys, I mean, you do this all the time, and you've got, you know, I don't know how fresh your eyes are because you do it all the time, but you haven't been staring at this design for the last 5 months. So I defer to you guys having a read on it. And I think, I mean, these people, Ryan and Megan, are very smart. They're very, you know, genuine in all this. So She mentioned it a couple of times. I think it was a preconception that she had of what it was supposed to be. And I don't have any problem of coming back to her, to both of them and saying, the architectural review board looked at it and they really think the house looks better with the fewer divided lights.
I think Megan is on the call.
Then I'll let Megan talk for herself because she's smart.
Sarah, do you see a hand raised?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Megan. Yeah, Patty and I have had this discussion multiple times, and I hear you. I think it's kind of images that I have seen in the past and kind of used as my inspiration, that the more divided lights. I agree in this image, maybe it looks like it's shortening the windows or making them more horizontal. But I guess this is my preference, but I'm open to kind of reconsidering and looking at things.
Actually, Megan, first, how are you feeling?
Well, today's my due date, but I'm still pregnant, so I'm over it. But yeah.
Okay, we better approve quickly.
Yeah. I was just thinking, we're not going to be responsible here, so let's give Megan what she needs.
Megan, I think I know the windows you're looking at in the dark color with a fine line. They are beautiful. And I wanted them myself in my house for a while. They were too expensive for my humble house. Anyway, I think it is the look. Either one will probably look beautiful. So.
Megan, are you willing to, when we get the house framed up, I bring a sample over from them and you can take a look at it?
Yeah, definitely willing to take a look at it. And as Patty mentioned, would definitely like to keep the muttons to be as thin as possible.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree. I think we all agree with that. I say we let it through and they have a discussion. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, Patty. Sometimes seeing it in place,
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
It's hard to project from the picture often.
So my notes tell me that if we're going to approve it tonight, we have to prove it conditionally because there are a few changes, or a couple of changes anyway. I guess the changes that I have would be the garage upper windows change on the front.
Yep.
Put vents in the rear eaves above the master bedroom.
Yep.
And then
Well, it's a treatment that's going to frame off a piece of the gable. So it's more than a vent. It's actually a
trim piece, a horizontal trim piece.
Yeah.
Plus the vent above, or some decorative element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that makes it look like it's intentional and purposeful in not just decorative.
Okay.
And actually, quite honestly, I hate ridge vents. So those will probably be where enable us to vent the attic in a good way.
Okay. And then the other is the option for 2/2 in the front of the house on the windows rather than 4/4.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We're good to go, Patty.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you much. Good luck, Megan.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Good luck, Megan.
If you need a ride, give me a call.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll give up my share. Yep.
Okay. And okay, we're on to new applications. ARB 2107, 9 Gray Rock Terrace, exterior elevation change. I believe our ex-buddy is on this one. Sarah, you see a hand raised? Oh, there he is.
Later.
Hi there.
How are you?
Hello. like to think we're still buddies, even though I'm not.
Well, we're not anymore because you're in front of us, so at least for the moment.
Fair. Yeah, no, so this is a very minor application. And it's called exterior elevation change, but in all actuality, it's replacing retaining walls in kind. So I can share my screen if that helps.
Please.
Can you guys see that?
Not yet. Oh,
There you
it
go.
comes.
How about that?
It's coming. There we are. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So this neighboring property basically has failing pressure-treated retaining walls in the driveway, and our neighbor wants to replace it with an Omnistone manufactured concrete product, which we've seen several places around town. In particular, you'll see here at the recently finished property on Harriman. This is the color, I believe it's called willow gray that they're proposing. So essentially, this is just trading in kind these pressure-treated walls for this Omnistone product, and then in turn also repaving the driveway and just cleaning up the area. So
And the
that is
stairs to remain?
the stairs to be done out of the same stone.
Right.
Yeah. So, but in the same location.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, I'm sorry, James, it's called Omnistone.
Well, I believe this is it's Mira Stone. Omnistone is another brand that it's using.
Oh,
So, yeah. So, and it's that product right there. So.
Okay. Okay, Mirrorstone. Okay, any questions from anybody? Okay. I'm sorry, did I hear somebody? Nope, okay. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We're good to go, JK.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Okay. Moving along, we have ARB 2108, 63 Field Terrace, pool. And I'm making a note that Mike is recusing himself on this.
Hi there.
How are we doing? With backup.
Hi, good. I'm Renee Byers, landscape architect for Dan and Barbara Trencher. And I can start my screen sharing if you like.
Please do.
Hold on. Okay, hang on. I've got a little. There we go. Okay. All right, you guys can see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. So this this application for you all is regarding landscape improvements to this property. You already reviewed a rear addition. Hold on, let me just turn on my little pen so I can point to things. 1 second. Sorry, I'm having a little technical issue here. I don't have my usual commands coming up, so I'm not going to be able to point right now unless I can try marking up. In any event, you've already approved a rear, there was a rear addition probably sometime last year for an addition which is here being built now, or actually almost completed. So our job is to add a swimming pool and perimeter fencing and some walls and site improvements to this property. So these first shots are just, this is the house itself. Other location shots in the backyard. This is simply showing where the swimming pool is going to go in the back. These are some area shots showing various houses, and I'm going to move right to the overall site plan just to get you oriented. So you have Field Terrace over here, a shared driveway that leads to 2 other houses in addition to the trenchers. And we have a pull-off, which was already approved in the last application by Douglas McClure, the architect. And we are simply doing a new bluestone walk and rebuilding in kind the front landing, which is kind of falling apart, but it's going to look almost exactly like it does now. Our swimming pool is in the backyard, completely enclosed by existing and new landscaping. And we will have a couple different types of fencing, which I have in more detail on the next sheets, but just to give you the overview, we have a wrought iron fence. Wherever we can see and touch it, we've used wrought iron. We have another section of wrought iron over here. And then where it's less apparent on these sides, we have the black aluminum fencing wherever it's kind of visible in the distance. And then hidden in planting completely coming around the sides is black chain link, which will be concealed in landscaping. So I'm going to move into the detail sheets now to give you a little better view of that. So this sheet simply lays out all of those designations to what is where that I just explained. These are some detail enlargement plans. This is the rear terrace, also done in bluestone with brick walls. And this is a little bit of a detail plan of the garage entry. So the shared driveway is out on the other side here. And this is, I'll show you an elevation of what you will see when you pull into their driveway, which is a brick walled enclosure, which will match the house brick to approximately 6 foot high wall to enclose the pool equipment and a generator area. And that will have a nice wood gate to form sort of an L-shaped courtyard to the rear driveway entry. And then you'll come up a walkway already in the old plan going to the mudroom entrance. Here's a couple of elevations. This is the rear elevation looking across the back of the house. And the side that I was just talking about, the driveway, is right here, where we will have the black aluminum fencing running up along this side facing our neighbor, although there is another 20 feet of landscape in front of this. So this fence is not right on the property line. And then we have planting largely concealing this brick screen wall. And these are a few detailed elevations. This is the wrought iron gate, which is, here it is pulled up in detail. And here's a photo of a somewhat similar one I did on another location, just to give you the idea of what that would look like. And here's this is the equipment enclosure. So this would be painted wood gate with lighting, low voltage lighting on each side. And then the perimeter metal fence is here. Let me see.
What color is the gate for the enclosure? The fence is black, correct?
The fence is black. This would match the house trim. It's kind of an off-white.
Okay.
Are you sure? Do you have anything in these drawings that shows where these gates are going?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'll go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the overall plan.
Okay.
So front of the house is here. The wrought iron gate, there's one double wrought iron gate on the left as you are looking at this front elevation of the house. And the other is located once you come up onto the mudroom walkway. There is another double wrought iron gate right here. And then the double wood gate is right here. Obviously, we wanted to do a solid wood gate because we have trying to reduce the sound coming out of that enclosure and also not see anything. And then this is our lighting plan. Basically, all the lighting is just very low key, low voltage lighting around the property. Let me know what else. What else would you like?
Well, is this going through the planning board?
Yes, we've went through both planning boards. We had to get a couple of zoning variances, and we've done that. So you're our final stop.
Okay, and they spoke to you about the type of lighting that you're allowed to use these days?
Yes, we went all through that.
All right.
All this was approved.
So let's hear what you have to say about the pool.
What I have to say about the pool?
Yeah, the pool is new, correct?
Yes, it's new. Okay. Well, it's an in-ground swimming pool. There is a separate spa. The pool is 45'6" long by 18'8" wide. You will reach it via two walkways that with a carpinus hedge in between the two, and then we sort of nestled it. I have a grading plan. It's in another set of drawings. You have it. I just didn't put the one up on this presentation, but I can go to it if you like. But essentially, where the grade comes up a little bit at this side of the property, so we are building a low stone wall here to make a level plinth for this to sit on. And then we have a roll down in the lawn with 3 bluestone steps that go down onto the larger lawn, which is out in here. Mm-hmm. So the desire was to keep as much as possible of this big open green space as possible and tuck the swimming pool off to the side.
Okay.
And it's also, the pool is surrounded in lawn. And there is a small bluestone pad with lawn joints for a seating area in the back. And then the paved terrace, the main paved terrace is off the house, which is down here. This is the new covered porch.
How do you access the spa?
Sorry?
How do you access the spa?
You just walk on the grass and go in a little step right here and step in.
I knew it was raised up. I didn't know how you accessed it.
Yeah, no, it's not raised up. It's just inches. It's maybe like 3 inches above the grade. It's just a tiny raise. It's not like it's not a seat wall.
Okay. Anybody else?
I suppose the only question I had about the perimeter fence, you said that the landscaping will obviously hide the chain link, black chain link fence.
Yes.
Is that the landscaping is already existing, or is there additional plants that you're adding?
Well, this landscaping is new. And everything around the pool is new, basically, and the rest is existing. There's quite a lot there already.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Ken?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're good to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It looks lovely.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. And last but not least, ARB 2109, 90 Fargo Lane. And also also a pool and an addition. John Malone.
Hello, guys.
How are you?
Hey. So I will share screen. This is a project that was in front of you a while ago. It's for an existing house on Fargo Lane that we were taking the entire house down and doing a new modern house in its place. Post-COVID, there was some changes, and the plan is now to keep the existing house in place and make modifications to it and do an addition. So the overall project is very similar to what was in front of you before in terms of its palette and stuff, but in this, you can see basically to the south of the house, there's an addition on effectively 3 levels. The lower level being a swimming pool. Upper level being living room, kitchen, dining room addition with an entry. That's sort of the ground level. The house is set very low. And then the top level, there's an open space to below for the great room. And then there's a master level which is a partial second level on the house with an office and a master bedroom. The language of the material palette for the exterior is very similar. Oh, there's a pool built into the front here on this other section. So there's a built-in pool here with a mahogany deck and an infinity edge on the edge of the project from the dining room. So the pool goes right up to the edge of the dining room on that side. So the palette, the material palette is very similar to what we did last time. So we've kept the same palette where the lower level where the concrete is expressed on the pool and in the lower level garage there's a board form concrete that's shown. And then there's a few different wall materials. There's a white stucco that's associated with the master suite volume that's on the top. And there's a dark stucco that's associated with the exposed basement of the existing house. And then there's a wood siding that's associated with like a cedar rain screen that's associated with the main house. I mean, the existing house that's being resided and reconfigured. And then there's a metal panel that matches the window system that's associated with the addition. So if we look at the elevations, this is the front elevation of the house. The vertical lines refer to this metal panel system that's intended to match the coloration of the window. So it's intended to be all sort of a bronze metal finish. This volume on the top, which you see, which is set back here, that sort of goes across the top of the volume, that's a stucco. That's going to be a light stucco. And then on the existing portion of the house, there's going to be a wood finish. So this is the facade facing the street. This is the facade facing south. The one that's had most impact is actually the facade that faces the street in terms of what people see.
What's on the second floor there, John?
The second floor is, that's the stucco that's on the master suite. So
could you go back?
This side, which up here, yeah.
Yeah, no, to the right of that.
To the right, to the right.
Yeah.
So that's the office that's set back. There's an office on the plan.
But I mean, the material is the same as lower left?
Correct, right. Well, that's being treated kind of like addition because of its location, right? It's a new building, but right, it's being treated with the same material as on the lower left.
Okay.
That's correct. There's a view here that has not been updated exactly, but gives you a sense of the volumetrics of the building that's being proposed. So this volume on top is sort of, a strong thing sitting on top. You see the board form concrete is acting as the heavy base. Right now through this whole area, we have the metal panel and also where it's shown wood here is now metal panel. And then around the existing, we have the wood. So the contrast was a little bit clear in where we ended up, where we have metal panel, and wood compared to what we were seeing there. The materials that are being used, the rain screen is going to be a red cedar rain screen that's going to be finished in a Cetal Sickens finish, which is a relatively light, trying to make, get away from the orange and get it more towards the gray. I mean, the goal is to have a relationship between the cedar and the concrete in terms of its tone, at least. And then there's going to be a dark stucco below this cedar on the base of the existing building. So you can see on the back of this is not really something that's seen from the street, but the back of this building has a walkout basement that is like a block wall right now. So that's going to be a darker stucco, and it's supposed to be a little bit closer to the tone of the concrete that's associated with the pool. So I was just going to show you quickly if you're interested in. So this is the system, the VersaSeam system that we're proposing. It's a not the perforated one, but it's a hidden fastener, so there's no fastener associated with it. And in terms of colors, there's a color chart here, which I'm not sure how helpful that is, but it's a bronze. It's basically designed to match the window tone. So it's not a full black, but it's a very dark bronze.
Do you have a profile of it, John?
Of that stuff? Yeah, hold on one second.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the configuration. I think we're
got it. That's fine.
Well,
yep. Yep. And which gap are you using?
I think we're using 3/4. We're using the thickest. Yeah, we're using 3/4 to try to give it a little bit more texture shadow wise.
So no debate about traditional versus modern here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty modern. I heard you guys say we don't approve things with 2 window types. So I will tell you that there are 2 window types if you haven't noticed. They're on the new part of the house. We're trying to make it full passive. So it has a European window from this company, Eco Windows, which is like a very different animal from anything that's made in this country. It's a
very different thing. Is it triple glazed?
Triple glazed, thermally broken. I don't think it has very low air infiltration and stuff. They also have functionality that's shown in there that's different than what you can get elsewhere. They have these very large sliders and stuff like that.
Do you know if this is the first passive house in Irvington? And if it is, will you do a lecture on it at town hall?
Only if we can hit passive.
If we approve it.
Yeah, if we approve it. Yeah, no, I don't think there's a lot of passive around here. I mean, there is a lot of happening in Westchester, though. I mean, it really is. And just as background to that, we just have many of you know we have a relatively small house. We have a $500 gas bill this month. So there's a lot of reasons that we need to super insulate buildings. I was just like, you're kidding me, $500. So,
we know that, John. It was topic of conversation over.
I know, like what happened? Danielle is like, you're never turning the heat up again. I've been coming home saying I'm freezing to death. And she's like, dude, you're not touching that thing anymore. Whatever you've been doing.
So funny.
So the fiberglass windows that we're using in the existing part of the house are the Marvin Assembly line. And the reason we're using them is they have a very simple modern profile and they have a color that will match the other stuff. So if we go quickly back to basically where you see these punch kind of infill windows, part of the existing house, they are the less expensive windows, and everything else over here is the eco.
What's that door on the
left?
getting
the higher.
Wait, don't walk off. What's that door?
This guy?
No, all the way over. What is that? That.
Oh, this. Is this some existing door to like a vault filled with crickets? I don't know. I think we were just going to paint it out. We weren't going to do anything with it. It's fairly well hidden.
Do you have any rendered elevations? Because it's always.
We don't have these elevations rendered, and that's why I brought you this for volume. And in terms of the tonality of it, this is where it's going to stay. I think it'll probably be metal this way, wood that way.
On it, John. It's great.
Sure.
So John, it has passive elements, but it's not a completely passive house at this point, right?
Right. I think what we're actually going to try to achieve is a net zero thing where we're going to try to offset the stuff with solar.
Mhm.
The solar would be flat, so you wouldn't see it, but it's not. We're going to see how far we can get. I think calculation wise, because we're reusing so much of the existing building, it's going to be very hard for us to get where we need to go. I mean, I think from a green perspective, not demoing and throwing out the old building, does have a carbon footprint plus, but to be really strict to get to passive, we're going to have to be able to get there.
Is this Enscape? Just curious.
Does the what? I'm sorry.
The rendering. What software was it done with?
There's Rhino in this, in addition to, I think it was a Revit base, but it's done with Rhino. In the end.
Okay. Can you go to the site plan?
Sure. Oh my God, it's got to be here somewhere.
Oh, there you go.
There it is.
And yeah, zoom in. So that's the existing condition. Oh, that's.
So this house, this piece here.
Let's see.
This is a difficult site plan to understand because this is actually the face of the garage at the lowest level. We did this so you can see the.
Sorry, is it an open garage?
It's a doored garage, but it's so far set underneath it. This is the front. This very light line here is the front.
Right, it's the overhang. Got it.
Line of the building, actually. Yeah.
Just can you zoom out a little bit?
Yeah.
It's the only thing I would say about it is, and I think it's a great improvement overall, but I feel like you might want to shield it more from the road. I go along Fargo and there's lots of, really beautiful landscaping right at the edge of the road. And
right.
Why, that particular quadrant, which I don't know my orientation, I guess it's southeast, is just feels like it needs to be a little denser. I know they're house proud and they will be house proud. That is a dark hole that's sort of everything.
Yeah, I think there is more going on than this visual shows. There's like a hedge on the other side and the road is elevated, so the hedge is a little higher. That gives it a little bit more built in. For this rendering, we sort of chose the place where you can see in, and over here to the right, there is a little bit more. But you're right. I think there's a lot of exposure. I think we're relying, the fact that this is a double height space and there's privacy associated with the lower level here. This bathroom window is, really what the struggle is. And if you've noticed, we're sort of moving this more towards the side. It's off center in the actual design. That was a change from the rendering. But yeah, I think what you're saying, Ken, is like just not have the kind of exposure. There's two trees here, but I think there's a bunch of junk that's not showing up here. That's kind of a mixed hedge that's off their property line. That's on the village right away. It's providing some shielding. I might be able to find.
It's an amazing transformation, John. I was in there pre-O'Connor when it was on sale when they bought it. So yeah. I mean, it's beautiful views, but the way the house is situated on the property, I know is challenging. So
it's a funny house. It's very much down in the hole, right? And
yeah, right. It should be challenges forward on the property. It's awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think we're trying to give it some kind of drama, and I think people who were concerned that it's too dramatic are actually like, the scale of it is such that it's not as in your face as maybe it seems from some of the renderings. Or certainly the way the elevations show it, it's not really how it's going to be perceived, right? The flat elevations, because it's very much lower in the ground.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame because it should be closer to the road and you'd have a lot more to work with. So,
It's funny though, in terms of the type of house that I always think works better when you have to go down into a hole, at least like, can make sense. You can have bridges and stuff like that. A colonial always dropped in the hole. I always think like, yeah, that's not where they would have put that in the 17 or in the 1800s. They don't put buildings down in a hole. That's not how that works.
right. Well, this property, I don't know if you knew Catherine, I can't think of her last name, but she had the big estate on the river. And these were relatives, they were cousins, and it was, so she kind of gave them an extra piece of the property. And, that's how that whole deal came out. And these two women created that house where they did it. So.
Is that the property to the north that this was peeled off of?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
that makes sense.
When she was when she was older, before she died, she was Richard's patient, and she gave them an extra piece of property because she was afraid that somebody might find something else to build on and they'd be infringed on.
So that's why there's two tax lots on there. There's a little triangle piece that was
that little
added.
piece. Yeah, that was what Catherine gave them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
John, how does, can we look at the pool? Is that, you said there's a proposed fence there. Can we see that?
Yeah, let me see what we have. Oh, no, the pool is, the boundary for the pool is entirely within the house. So I can explain that.
Okay, because I thought I saw on the drawing, it said proposed fence.
Yes, there are, there's some existing fences on the yard that I thought were staying. But in terms of like, oh, there it is. No, there is a proposed fence. You're right. So, and that's for the lower pool. So for the upper pool, because of the way it's accessed and the height of it, that the fencing is related to the stair that goes up onto this deck. So the two gates at either side of this stair. So it's actually really architecture does not fence. The fence that we do have is around this lower level here. And where is that called out? Wall. Where is that fence? So there it is, 16. Sorry, let me just find where it is. So I think that's a very simple, yeah, it's a very simple aluminum fence to 5 feet around that. And that's really the reason that's there is to protect the regeneration pool. The pool is a natural pool, so it has a regeneration area. And Irvington has a code that even if the thing is 18 inches deep, it's being treated as a pool. So we'll right now there's a low wall here that goes up about 30 inches. And then the fence is 5 feet on the downward side of that. So what ends up happening is that when you're up on this level, the expressed height of the fence is only 30 inches above this edge. So then this would be planted out so that you don't see it as much.
Okay.
Yeah, the planting plan that's including just has screening at the moment. It doesn't have sort of decorative planting that's associated with that fence. We didn't think that had any offsite impact at the moment, but I mean, the goal would be to plant that out, with something that's evergreen.
Could you show that fence and gate again, John?
Sure. So it's.
Okay, I just wanted to check the latching device and everything that's on the gate itself.
Yeah. It's actually identical to what you just saw for the previous project for the aluminum. It's this double rail thing.
Okay.
And it works apparently in modern projects as well as traditional.
Yeah, traditional.
As long as you plant trees around it.
Anybody have any questions?
I think it's very nice.
Yeah.
I agree.
Beautiful.
Okay. Do I need a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Good to go, John.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your work.
Okay. Any old business, new business? Deb, I still owe you my thoughts and in writing on our situation with planning and
Okay.
but I was slammed this month. I couldn't get to it, but I will.
Okay.
And then we can get our thoughts out to everybody and then collect everyone's thoughts and go from there.
Great.
Anybody else? Questions, concerns? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Right.
Second. All in favor?
Right.
Good night, all. Thanks.
Bye. Good night.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank
Good
you.
night.